everyone, and welcome back to For St. Pete's Sake. This is the Democratic Political Podcast where we deep dive into all things politics here in Pinellas County, the state of Florida, and beyond. I am Christian Hotchkiss, your host, president of the Stonewall Democrats of Pinellas County, and I, of course, am joined by my co-host, Laura.
Hi, Christian. How are you doing today?
Another day in paradise, let me tell you. I can't be mad when we have this weather here in St. Pete.
I mean, it's really true. Like it's very much we've turned the corner of like whatever that very strange spring winter we had, and we're definitely in summer now, so it's very
Yeah, that
nice.
second winter did pass.
It did. It did. This week, we've got another great guest on the pod. We are joined this week by Eileen Long. She is a school board member of the Pinellas County School Board, and we're here to talk to Eileen about all things education and learn about what's going on here with our schools here in Pinellas County. And so I'd like to have Eileen introduce herself. And so welcome, Eileen.
Thank you. This is an honor. I'm Eileen Long. I am the District 4 school board member, but I help everybody. And I'm originally from Illinois in the western suburbs, but in 1976, so 40 some years ago, I moved to Florida, Pinellas County. I graduated from Seminole. I went my sophomore year, and then in my junior year, they sent me over to St. Pete College because my middle school books were the high school program. So I ended early and I went and I got my degree in teaching and school psychology. And I started very young. I was 20 and I have never looked back. I've had an awesome career. I've taught 34 years. And in my last year of drop, there were things going on and a lot of young teachers were upset and they were being attacked. Well, not attacked, but confronted and made to feel terrible in front of their students. And when I saw that, that was it. And so my husband said to me, okay, you like to complain a lot. He said, you either run for school board or shut up. And that's exactly how he said it. And so I did. And to my surprise, I won. I ran thinking, yeah, this would be cool, but I didn't think I had a chance. And it has been the most exciting time because I bring so much knowledge. I'm a mother of 2 kids. I help raise my brother's children. So to me, this was just like the accumulation of all I've done to help young kids. And I believe our school system is the most important foundation for Pinellas County schools.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I know for me personally, because I've only been down here for about 3 years, what all area does your district encompass? I know you said I believe you said Palm Harbor.
Tarpon Springs, East Lake, Countryside, part of Safety Harbor, Dunedin. Okay. So it's a large district, but once you're elected to the board, you can help the whole district. You don't, right. So I've been called a lot to St. Pete. Okay. And my daughter, she's the oldest of my children. She's very into different groups. And she started to help me by teaching me things. I'm kind of old. I'm going to be 64 next month. And things when I was a kid are very different. Mm-hmm. And as I listen to the issues in the school system, as I listen to parents, as I listen to the kids, that's my number one, listening to them. Yep. I realized I had to open my horizon. Okay. And so I'm trying very hard. And I try to look at every situation that I'm faced with, to think about the administrators, to think about the teachers, but most importantly, to think about the child. Mm-hmm. And I try not to make a decision until I hear the whole story. Awesome. Because I think it's important. And I know some, there are bad apples in every career. And I understand that, some teachers have to be reprimanded, but at the same time, I don't want teachers to lose their love of teaching. I don't want them to feel discouraged. I don't want them to feel that we are
Making it harder.
well, they're almost like little robots, and I don't like that. So that is really my issues.
Okay.
I want to fight for those and for parents too.
Yeah. One thing that I know, well, I saw that it was brought up in the Senate, but it never went to committee. But you know how these things are, once they're brought up once, they get a life. Yeah,
Yes.
that it was in the Senate this session where they were thinking about removing the final test for algebra and English for the state testing requirements and making it more of like a progressive check-in.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just wanted to get your perspective on that as someone that like I know I was a struggled a test taker. Those things are
Was
very,
too.
very
Oh,
hard.
right up
Like
my alley.
yeah, so I see it one way that those tests are really hard and artificial for kids to deal with, but on the other way, like we want to monitor that we're making progress in math and algebra and you know language
Right.
arts.
And
So
I think it's a fine balance. I I don't believe that children should be held back or not given their diploma because they can't pass a test. If they can prove they understand what they're doing on their classwork or a teacher made test, I, that's fine with me. They're proving that they can do it.
right.
These state tests, I I understand why they're using them, but I don't agree. I don't agree. I think this one, it, when it was what was it? Fat? No, fastest
Fast.
now, but it was called. I have to.
FCAT before.
Yes, there was another one in between there, and you're not, you're not comparing a second grader and then looking at what they've done on the third grade test. You're looking at two different groups of students and comparing them.
Mm.
And I don't agree with that. I also think a lot of kids, even brilliant students, they get nervous. They get very nervous and they get sick. And how do you know, number one, if they're perfectly healthy, that they're not struggling from something,
Right.
that they've gotten enough sleep, that they've gotten enough food,
Mhm.
all that. And to put the child's academic future on that, along with a teacher's evaluation based on how their classes did, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
I taught 34 years in this system, so I can,
it seems like after a while, we're just teaching kids how to take a test. We're not actually teaching them knowledge. So
Right.
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. If we had different level testing from the teachers themselves, then that would be great.
Right.
Instead of focusing on this one specific test at the end of the year.
Or a test that can truly show an educator from the beginning of school year to the end how much their students have grown. Now, I haven't been in the classroom for 9 years, but my husband is still a teacher. And he said that this new 3-time test before you take the big one, it does help him in mathematics because he teaches math to 6th graders. So he can see the growth from August to December, and then from December to May. So he does get to see that. And then he goes back and he reinforces where they're not so strong. That's great. But, I personally believe they're putting too much emphasis on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's dive into what we got going on in today's political climate. So we've seen a lot of attacks from the Florida State Legislature on the LGBTQ community, specifically on our young kids, our young trans youth. So I'd like to get your perspective of what you're seeing in the district itself from the state level, with the book banning, with the where
Yeah.
teachers have to, tell the parents whatever they say, things like that. So if you'll go into that for us.
Okay, well, the book ban's real easy because I was the troublemaker.
We love
And the
that.
governor was after me for a long time. Um, you know, every child should have the right with parent watching what they're reading, because I did that with my two, but based on their academic, if a child is really bright, and I'm going to use my own children. My daughter was an IB, and she read a book called The Bluest Eyes, which started the big trouble here in Pinellas County.
Mm.
And my husband and I had to give permission, and we did. We knew Kayla was, she would read 2-3 big, thick books in a week. I couldn't keep enough books going. And to hear her perspective of why, she finished The Bluest Eyes in 3 hours, came out just very emotional, and said, Mom, people, I didn't realize that people don't come from the same kind of background as we do. And I said, well, that's very true, Kayla. And she said, even as far as, thank you, honey, even as far as parenting, that I would listen to my children and say yes or no. Now, my son is the complete opposite. He does have a disability, but he is doing fantastic. He graduated from high school. I know he's got the same ability, but the apraxia blocks him. And I'm just happy if he reads a comic book because he's reading. Yeah. But I've noticed lately he's into researching on the internet and reading things, and he will come back and ask so many questions. Mom, why are they going after this type of kid? What is wrong? And I'll say, there's nothing wrong. Everybody's different, and thank God we all are, and that you can learn from other kids. Never be afraid of. Don't dislike somebody because a group of kids say to. I want you to be your own man and think. And I'm very proud of my son because he is so kind. He is so caring. He'll help others no matter what. That's what we should be teaching our children.
Absolutely.
And books can do that. And I don't believe that they should be ridiculed in school. And I'm very proud of the new generation. I think parents are much more open-minded. And I think a lot of parents are starting to see that they've got to expose their children to all kinds of people. You don't pick and choose the world. When my son finally goes out on his own, he will be part of the world. Right. He will, and he needs to have that kind of knowledge so he can be a good citizen. And book banning stops that. And I won't, we have a process here in Pinellas County that I can assure every parent, your child, if you don't want them reading certain books, fine. When you fill out your forms in the beginning of the year, say, I don't want my child to read some of these books, or what. That's your choice. And that's the way it should be. I don't want government telling me how to raise my children. I really don't. And I don't think even as a school board member, I should be telling parents how to raise children. I can learn from a lot of the parents.
Precisely. And I think that's what, is interesting. The Republican Party used to advocate for small government, less government intrusion in your everyday life. And, anymore, they want the government to regulate what names teachers can call kids, which I have my own little personal bee in my bonnet about that. They're not allowed to, and I believe that's a thing here in Florida too, is like you're not
Yes.
allowed to use preferred pronouns or preferred names. Which is interesting since our vice president uses one. His real name is James Donald Bowman, and he's using an affirming name of JD Vance. So I don't, it's like, yes for me, none for thee. You know what I mean? It's a very frustrating.
And as a teacher, I taught special ed and dropout prevention.
Oh, wow.
But some of my very favorite students, I watched them suffer. I remember one in particular, and I still keep in contact with him. His mother told him his dad died because of how he's growing up. And he was in seventh grade. He didn't understand. I mean, come on. Everybody bleeds the same way. Everybody has emotions. What do I care? I just want people to be happy. I think if people are accepting and learn to accept,
Yeah.
then what is wrong? And it bothers me, but I think young people, because I'm looking at a lot of my daughter's friends, they're now in their mid-20s, and it's like she'll say, "Mom, it's no big deal."
Yeah.
And she has one, and some friends, and I'll say, "Okay, what am I supposed to call them? I don't want to hurt their feelings."
Right.
And so she tells me, I get the name in my head, and that's what I do. And I think they're beautiful.
Absolutely.
So humans are beautiful. They say I was raised, God didn't make junk. I was,
Exactly.
and they're children. Everybody's a child of God. I don't care what. And schools shouldn't be putting their nose in that and making an issue. We need to educate every single child in Pinellas County and educate them to the best of their ability.
Absolutely.
And I feel so strong about that. And I'm old, so, I'm kind of getting with it now.
But no, we love that to see people grow and change, right, Christian?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really, really incredible.
I'm trying. I make mistakes, though. I'm going to admit to you all, I
We all
make
do.
mistakes.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Sometimes I make mistakes too. It's all good. So it's really, really great to hear that you're very supportive of the students. I want to jump on to another topic that I'm having my heart is heavy with.
Okay.
And that's the immigration system right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys, because we're seeing in a lot of states, ICE coming into these elementary, middle, high schools and just forcing their way in to try and take these kids that are DACA kids or, whatever their situation may be, they're trying to force themselves in. Now, I know we haven't had any instances here in Pinellas, but that doesn't mean they won't try. So do you guys have anything set in place or any ideas as far as that goes?
We do. All 7 of us believe that schools should be safe for every single student. And I am so strong in believing that if ICE would come in, it's not just affecting the child that they're coming in for. It affects every single child in that classroom. How do you explain to a first grader, a cop with all this guns and everything else comes in, pulls the kid out, and you never see him again?
Mm-hmm.
Just think of what a first grader must feel. Where's
And
my
we've
body?
had there have been ICE agents that aren't even in uniform, like snatching kids and people off the street.
Pinellas County will not. There was an issue a couple weeks ago, and it hit the paper, and the person that had signed it made a mistake. And like you said, we all make mistakes, but we are standing strong. School should be a safe zone.
That's
Because
so
it's going to
wonderful
hurt
to hear.
every single child.
That's wonderful to hear. And I know for me personally, having, Christian is originally from Florida. He's from Brooksville, so just outside the Tampa
Ooh,
area, but,
like,
originally from Florida, me being from Ohio, we both affirmatively made a choice to come to St. Pete and come to Pinellas because we felt welcome by and felt the some sense of community that exists here. And so and to see that people that we have elected that are standing up for all of us and that that you're united in a board to do that
we
it's
are
really affirming.
all seven of us. We all
Absolutely.
feel the same way and for the same reasons. We're worried about every single child in our schools. And I feel that as board members, we're responsible for them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And the superintendent feels the same way. So we are a united front.
Good. Good.
That's awesome.
Laura, do you have a question or do you want me to?
No, go ahead. I was just waiting for you.
All right, perfect. So I got one more out that I can think of off the top of my head, which is something that I haven't really heard much about recently, but we did hear some murmurs last year during the election cycle, and that's Moms for Liberty. We all know this horrible, horrible organization that comes through and gets these people that have no place in the public education system elected to school boards. And there were a couple of them even here in Pinellas the last election cycle. I believe one of them won or no?
No, none of them.
No, they lost. Okay, good. So
They all
Pinellas is still good.
yes.
But we still see them, they're still out there. So
yes,
what do
they
you have
are.
to say to other school districts who maybe have some of those people in there who they just don't feel good? They don't feel safe.
No, they don't. They say that we are the ones that are teaching how do they
Indoctrination.
thank you, that we are the ones, but in reality that's not what's happening. I don't know if any of you read, I was talking to Laura about this, the young man who shot up at FSU, his mom is a cop, and we all know he used her gun, but she is a strong Republican and a leader for Moms for Liberty. Where did this child learn so much hatred? I mean, who is indoctrinating who?
Exactly. Hate does not
No.
come in the body. Hate is taught.
And they have their beliefs, and I'm fine with that. But don't push your beliefs on the rest of us, and we shouldn't push our beliefs on everyone. I try so hard not to as a board member, but they do. I just,
yeah, it scares me when I hear these, when I read the articles and I hear the stories about Moms for Liberty and the people that are running, because our schools should be the one place where kids don't have to worry about anything.
They shouldn't be political, Christian.
Exactly that. It's not political. They don't have, they should be able to go to their classrooms and just not have to think about the rest of the world.
That's right. And I'm a no party affiliate because I'm all over the board. Thinking politically, I mean, sometimes I think the left is great. Sometimes it's the right. But I always try to land in the middle where I can make as many of my constituents happy as I can and give parents support. I believe parents should have a lot of decisions because I wouldn't want to be told how to raise my child. So yes, I don't even get me started. I can feel my blood pressure going up.
Well, yeah, I'm a firm believer in you got to protect the kids and you got to make sure that they're having like the best time. They don't have to worry about anything when they walk through those schools. Like these kids worried about
their own social
scared because school shootings, their personal lives, whatever may happen. The last thing we need is them coming in and getting bullied on top of it.
And I think kids are much more adaptable than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's all about treating everyone the same.
Yeah. So this is my last one. The last election was very hard. A lot of very terrible things were said. Lies were made, and it was rough.
And in full disclosure, Stonewall Democrats did endorse Eileen
Yes, you did. Thank you
yes, we
so
did support
much.
and endorse Eileen. So, just want to put that out there. But,
Yes,
it's
you
because that
did.
she, as has been obvious in this conversation, she very much cares about the community and about the children, and having been, in the district as an educator for 30 plus years, just brought a lot of great qualifications to the seat.
And I love what I do. I would not have changed anything. I started at a time when a teacher could really be a teacher and do very interesting things to help. It's a different time right now. It really is, and it's sad. Teachers shouldn't have to be looking over their shoulder to see what's going on, or are they going to be the next target? That's not what should be happening.
Absolutely.
And I want to see them get support. If they're struggling, let's give them a lot of chances to get better. Don't just say, oh, you blew it this time, you're gone. No way. I don't believe in that.
Absolutely.
It's an art, and it takes several years to develop.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah, and I look back at my career and I think, wow, what I know now, I would have done a lot of things different. But you learn as you go, and you never stop learning. I don't care how old you are. And
You
I'm
learn
a
as you
perfect
go
example.
and you grow.
That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So do you have another question, Laura? Or
Nope, I'm all set. I got all my speed parts out of the way.
I'm gonna open it up to you for just a second, Eileen. Is there anything that you want to talk about real quick?
I just want everyone to know that I get emotional, so hold on.
Oh, you're fine.
That I truly believe the school system is the foundation of our society. And when you see things going wrong in the school system, that's showing you what could be coming in the near future. And as long as I'm on the board, I'm going to fight with everything I can to make sure, number one, parents out there, your children are going to be safe. Your children are going to learn. It's our motto is 100% student success. I want to add this part: to the best ability of the child. Not all kids are made for college.
No.
Not all children, there's vocational, which the state of Florida is threatening. Well, it hasn't come yet. I think we'll know this week, pulling 50% of funding to our technical, to IB, to ACE. I mean, we want all the kids that are, put round objects in a square box. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. We're all different, and we should be understanding of that, and we should be working to make sure that is happening for all children. Everyone. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion, what your sexual beliefs. That's not my business. My business, what I'm responsible for, is to make every child safe, happy, and learning so that they can grow up and be the best human being that they can. And I appreciate the community that helps me with that. I really do.
Absolutely. It's I look at it as comparing equality to equity, right? We want to fight for equity, not so much equality. We're already humans, but we need that equity to where everybody is given their best chance as to what they need, because not everybody is the same. I was not a college person. I did not make it to, I graduated high school, and I'm very glad I did, but I wasn't, that wasn't me. My father was a trained electrician. My mother's a nurse. My father went to those technical schools, and to hear that these jobs, which are traditionally blue collar jobs,
exactly,
right,
from the technical colleges, to hear them say that they're going to take away funding, like traditionally
That
blue
one
collar, you're
blows
supportive.
my mind.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. And our governor was a big proponent of vocational schools. He believes more kids should go to vocational than college. Well, if we cut funding, how in the world are we going to be able to do that?
Right.
And Pinellas Technical College is one of the best, not only in the state, but nationwide.
Uh-huh.
And that says a lot. And as an educator, I had kids that were very bright, but they might have had a learning disability or an emotional disability. And I knew college wasn't going to be for them. So I would take them out to Pinellas Technical College. It was called P-Tech back then. I'd take a bus load and we'd go and we'd show the kids what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got students that are making way more than a college graduate, even doctors, lawyers. There are some that, whoa.
Absolutely.
Some of these trades pay really, really well. So
I know.
It's
and
saddening.
Isn't that what we want for our kids? If they're not
Exactly.
college material, or they can't find a job until they have more experience, isn't that what we want?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we do apprenticeships in Pinellas County. But see, that's
awesome.
You're vocational. Now, that's all going to be cut. And in Pinellas County, we are going through a very difficult time right now because our school district is shrinking.
Mm.
A lot of families are moving to Florida.
Yep.
And a lot of and Pinellas County is so expensive that a young family can't make roots here.
Yep.
And so, everybody say, well, these budget cuts, they're not really cuts. They're downsizing. Mm-hmm. And there are so many laws in Tallahassee. If a school goes under 50%, the state can come in and take the school from us and turn it into a charter.
Oh my goodness.
And private schools and charter schools, they are not on the same playing field because they don't have to show everything they're doing. We have to show everything we're doing. And I think that's terrible. I don't mind competition, not at all. Right. But let's be fair. Let's be fair about it.
Absolutely.
And that's a hard thing to fight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I know that you're fighting the good fight, and I appreciate you being there. We appreciate you being there.
Absolutely.
That's the main reason why we endorsed you. So getting to know you has been incredible.
Thank you. And to everyone out there, if you have an instant where you're or a situation or you're concerned about something in the school district, call me. I'm easy to talk to. I won't tell anybody. I keep everything confidential. But I'm here for you. I'm here for everybody in Pinellas County.
And it shows. It really does show. So we appreciate that.
You.
All right, Eileen, we're going to get on to a much lighter portion of our podcast episode. Right. So we have another segment called Shout Out or Shut Down, which is you can either shout out something really good that's happening in Pinellas at schools or across the world, whatever, or you shut down something that you don't like. So what I would do is I am going to shut down respectfully the Florida Democratic Party for hosting our Leadership Blue gala at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel, which has traditionally been a right-wing leaning
organization,
tribe, and they have given more than $5 million at this point to Republican candidates. So I don't know why the Democratic Party would go and plan our biggest event of the year to be there. And I just got to say, we can't, this performative activism, this basic, just doing nothing isn't going to work anymore. So our leaders need to be aware that we're not going to stand for it.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of that. Do you have a shout out or a shutdown, or do you want to have another moment to think about it, Eileen?
Shout out or shut down. Uh, um,
She's like, there's so many things to choose from right now. It's hard to know where to go.
Here's a shut down,
Okay.
and I'll probably be fired. This governor will come after me. I I respect people that run for higher offices. You know, if I was younger, you might be seeing me in Tallahassee, but I don't, we allow lawmakers to make the decisions for school, and some of them have never set foot in a school, and they're making decisions that affect every single child in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they should spend it. I think every single legislator and senator should spend a day in a public school across the state of Florida and see what really it means to teach.
Absolutely. That's exactly true. Oh, I was going to say, you muted yourself there for a second, Christian.
Me?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, okay.
I have kind of the same thought about like the service industry. This is so funny because I've been in the service industry for like my entire life. And so I always say every person should have to spend at least 1 week in the service industry in some way, somehow, so that they can just learn a little bit of humility and respect.
Right,
So it sounds
I
like it's the
agree.
same thing that could happen in school.
Yes, that's right.
Alrighty.
Laura, what's yours?
I'm trying to just because I cleared the notification and now I can't remember exactly which politician it was. But my shout out is to, I want to say it's Dick Durbin, but I don't know if that's who it was. There's someone that is just announced that they are retired. They are retiring from Senate leadership and they're not running again. And he's intentionally said, "I've done it. I've spent my time. It is time for us to bring the next generation up."
Right.
And I am just so proud to hear that from another Democrat. I know we all love you, being an elected official is fun and, especially being on a national, and the national level is, I'm sure, even more intoxicating, but I very much appreciate it when people recognize that the time is now to groom
Time
people
is,
and move
yeah,
on. So that's my shout out for the
really
week.
hard before you run.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a big commitment to run for any sort of office. So,
It is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
well, Eileen, this has been amazing. First of all, I just want to say thank you so, so much for joining us tonight. We definitely have to have you back on because this was a great conversation.
Oh, I
So,
love it. I'm really honored tonight to be here. And I really thank you for inviting me. This has been wonderful.
absolutely. We'll definitely have you back soon for another episode, and we'll get all the updates from the Pinellas County School Board. In the meantime, we thank you guys so much for watching. This has been For St. Pete's Sake. Please subscribe. Oh, Laura, I'll let you take that over because I
You're
don't want to
fine,
ruin
yeah.
it.
Please remember to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. That's at for Saint.Pete's Sake. And that's again on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at for Saint.Pete's Sake. You can subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen, and be sure if you can rate and review us, that'd be really cool. Start getting a little rate and review action going on. I'd love that. So we'll be back next week for more stories from the people doing the hard work to make our community better. Until next time, for St. Pete's sake, keep fighting for change.